hear me,
This
right?
conference will now be recorded.
Okay. We want to be our motto is to be the best state in the country to live, learn, work, play, and do business. Real simple. We're here to advance the economy of Florida, and we do it in a multitude of ways. With my office, we have loans available. Previously, we've had grants available, but primarily right now is loans for small businesses. That's my office. I am in the Division of Community Development, which is headed by Mario Rubio, a tremendous person to work with. We are here to help the communities in Florida, both rural and large cities. I mean, that is our goal here, Orlando being one of the fastest growing cities in the state. So, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it short, and hopefully we'll spur a lot of questions. Let me tell you a little bit about the program that we have here. I think that everybody has been talking about, which is our emergency bridge loan. It is a tool that the governor has at his disposal after a disaster to activate emergency bridge loan. The last time we did this was after Hurricane Michael. Prior to that was after Hurricane Irma. This program, we have some $50 million available to us. These are state dollars. These are not federal dollars. These are state taxpayer dollars to fund these loans. They are available for small businesses from 2 to 100 employees. So it is a great tool for businesses to tap into. It's emergent money. We want to get money in the hands of these businesses immediately. This activation, we were able to process 2 loans within 3 days, which is a great turnaround. Amazing tool at the governor's disposal. I can tell you a little bit about where we were back on the 16th of March and where we are today, and what we're doing and how we're helping businesses around the state. So back on the 16th is when we activated this bridge loan, and it was I thought it was something that was going to be tremendous. I thought the demand was going to be amazing, and I'm not. I'm here to tell you that it is. We've received over 27,000 applications from small businesses. Still continue to apply. Still, people continue to need the funds. Still continue to need this assistance. But that was then. We're still taking applications. We're still processing loans. Thankfully, the federal government stepped in, and I've never seen it in the years that I've been here. I've never seen it happen so quickly. I've never seen it happen so diligently. And as of Friday, from what I understand, is what I've been calling the P3 loan, the Payroll Protection Program loan, will be available for businesses to go to their lender, go to their depositor, and work with them on taking out this PPP loan. It's a quick overview of kind of where we were and where we are now in regards to this program and this loan program. Again, this is something we really want. These federal dollars is something we really want to encourage businesses to apply for. So Andrew, I think I'll just pause there for a second. I've said a lot. I'm happy to go back and kind of answer some questions or maybe elaborate on some of the things that I talked about.
If anybody has any questions, go ahead and type in a question. Here's one that came in from Nelson and Janet Deskins. Is the loan based off of a company's annual revenue? Is one of the questions that has popped in there.
So if you're referring to the emergency bridge loan, which are state dollars, these are taxpayer dollars, it is not based off of annual revenue. You can apply for up to $50,000. We do ask for financials. We do ask for tax returns. It is a personal loan. It is not a business loan, but it's a personal loan to a business owner. You must be 51% business owner to apply for the loan under that business. One owner can apply for more than one loan if they have more than one business. So as long as they own 51% of that loan of that business, they can apply for the loan. So it is not based off of revenues. Now, if you're referring to the federal loan, so why don't I kind of jump into the federal loan here. There's 2 loan programs that we encourage businesses at the same time when they apply for our state dollars to apply for the federal dollars. We work closely with a partner, the SBDC, which I know has a big presence in Orlando. So I encourage everybody to either call or email and try and get in to see one of those consultants, or I know they're doing a lot of Zoom meetings as well to avoid coming in to big meetings. They are ready to assist in the federal loans. The two loans that are available, the one loan that we have always had available after a disaster are the EIDL loans, the Economic Injury Disaster Loans by SBA, and that's a direct loan from SBA. You can apply for up to $2 million for that loan. SBA.gov has all of the information, and it's readily available on their front page. The new loan that's available now through the CARES Act is this P3 loan, this payroll protection program, which is based off of revenues. I'm sorry, is not based off revenues, is based off of payroll. You can apply for 2.5 times your payroll or up to $10 million for that loan. And we can get into talking about some of the forgiveness on the back end, but that might be a little bit too complicated at this point. There's a lot of reading material on this.
This is a business loan, correct? It's not a personal loan that goes to the owner of the business, correct?
So the federal loans are business loans, correct?
Okay.
Where our state dollars is a personal loan.
So for this loan here, this gap, the Bridge the Gap loan here is a federal, or is that a state loan?
So the emergency bridge loan is a state loan. That's the bridge. So our loan, we call it a bridge loan for the purpose of we're bridging the gap to the federal loan. Okay.
And then we had another question that came in. So what is the difference, or why is there a difference between a personal and or a business loan?
Well, there is a difference because we're making the loan on our state dollars. We're making the loan to the person. So the person is liable, and we ask for a personal guarantee. Many small businesses are not set up just from sheer credit. People don't have business credit, so we've got to somehow run a credit check, and we run, your credit report and credit score. Many small businesses don't even have that. Some of the larger businesses don't even have that. So that's why we make it a personal loan. It's a lot easier for us to run the loan. It's a lot easier for us to get the money out a lot quicker. If we're doing business loans, much slower, much slower.
Gotcha. Okay, so then with this, just kind of going in and we can ask more questions that are coming through. Did I answer the question for you, Dr. Bartow? And then with what we had here is, if there was, what's the payback time on this loan? I think is about a year, if I'm not mistaken. Is that from the year from when the loan is processed?
Sure.
Can you elaborate?
Sure, I can elaborate on that. So the loan is a 1-year loan. It's $50,000. It is a zero interest loan for the 12 months. Now, prior to me coming over to DEO, I think a lot of people who ran the program didn't really enforce the program the way it should have been, and let these loans kind of slip through and turn into term loans, or just, that they would pay them back as they could. So I thought that that's not what this money should be used for. It shouldn't be looked at that way. This is state dollars. This is a program that, in order to keep it running, we need to have appropriate return. And I think that's why the program has been so successful since 1994. We've activated this 27, I think, times for about almost $180 million that we've loaned since then. So I thought it was being fiduciarily responsible as we could, and being a steward of taxpayer dollars. We need these people to pay the money back. We're here for you, but certainly we want to make sure that the taxpayers get their money back, because who knows when it's going to need to be activated again. And I didn't want to have a situation where the next governor would say, you know what, this is not a very good program anymore. And I didn't think that was right. So we turned it used to be a 6-month loan. We turned it into a 1-year loan. And after that 1 year, it's considered in default. And per statute, we need to report that to our financial services agency to let them know that the loan is in default. And in most cases now, we need to report it to the credit bureaus. So we want to make sure that it is paid back, and we want to make sure that people understand that this is just a bridge to federal dollars, which is why we encourage you to apply for the federal loan at the same time.
So on another, so if the loan defaults, with that? What are the penalties, or what is it? Is it then get just on your credit score type piece, or what if a business applies and you think you're going to be fine, and 3 or 5 months down the line, it didn't do what you wanted it to do, or your business wasn't able to survive? What happens if you have to apply for bankruptcy or of the sorts?
So good question, which is why we always tell people apply for the money that you believe that you need to stay in business. This is to keep your doors open. This is to keep your employees on the payroll. This is what we want to do. We understand the importance of keeping your people employed and keeping everybody so they don't move out. We had that issue with Michael where you had a lot of residents who just left their town, left their city, and just moved. And in many instances, they're not coming back, and those jobs aren't coming back. So if you feel that you need the money, take the money. If you feel that you need the full amount, take the full amount. If you don't take it, because it does need to be repaid. Now, in the case of a default, once it goes into default, the interest jumps to 12%. So it's a 12% per annum interest rate. And at some point, we'll be instructed by DFS, our financial services agency, to send that to collection. When we send to collection, there's then obviously more fees on top of that. So there are critics that say this is not a good thing to do. This is not a good program because it jumps to 12%. I beg to differ. I think this is an important program if used fiduciarily responsible by both the borrower and by us, the agency, to run it correctly. This is a great tool. People take the money, they need the money, they utilize it, they get the federal funds on the other side, or they get other funding on the other side. They might get insurance paycheck, an insurance check. They might get FEMA help, or in the form of grants. So I always tell people, take what you need, utilize it correctly, and then go on the back end and get longer term funding or longer term financing.
So I've got a couple questions that are popping in, but one of them you kind of touched base on it, but it is that, so if you do have other loans, you can apply for this loan.
Absolutely.
Correct. And then we'll get into another one, but I do have a question here that Nelson and Janet had popped up. It says, when we looked at the application, and this may be a good segue to go into the actual application process here, but they saw that there was a reference to a FEMA number, and you talked about a FEMA assistance there also. Does it still apply? And if so, what is that number? So I don't know if we want to hold on that answering that question when we get into the actual applying for the loan, but the question was, we looked at the application, saw a reference to a FEMA number. Does it still apply? If so, what is that number?
I'm not sure what the reference again, a FEMA number. The only reference to FEMA that we have in the application is if you're going proceeds, if you're going to receive proceeds from another source that we want to get paid back from that source. So tell us what that source is going to be.
So if you had assistance, let's say through one of the hurricanes of sorts, can you still apply for this loan also? I guess maybe that's where it would be, is if I got assistance through through FEMA or from a previous disaster.
You can still apply. There's one caveat though: if you haven't repaid a prior loan, an emergency bridge loan, you're not eligible to apply for a new loan. So we want to ensure that you've paid back your previous loan before you can apply for this. So we do have an instance where there are Irma folks that haven't paid it, Michael folks haven't paid back, and they want to apply for this one. Unfortunately, we need to be, again, good stewards of taxpayer dollars. So, and I guess I'll go through the application. I'll go through my slide here. Maybe that'll answer some more questions.
We can do that. Yeah, that seemed to answer, I think, the question for Nelson and Janet there within that. So what we've got here is he does have a presentation for actually going through the loan process. So if you have clients and or need to go through this process, this is a great piece, and we'll have this also on our website that you can kind of see the different pieces that he talked about. And we are recording this video today so that you can go back and use it as a reference. But go ahead, Michael, if you want to take this in and kind of tell everybody about how to go through the loan process, and then we'll take some more questions. If they pop up in the middle of this, please type them in and we'll ask them, and I'll direct the questions then.
Great, thank you, Andrew. So this is just a quick overview, and again, I think the biggest takeaway here is you can see where it says bridge the gap. That's exactly what this is. This is a bridge to get you to another source of funding or another source of funds. Here's some particulars: the 51%, the 50,000, the loan term 1 year, interest free. And then I will add that once it gets to the default, once it goes into default, the rate will go to 12%. And of course, you can see the deadline is May 8th, but I encourage you, we say May 8th, but it's until funding is no longer available. So here's where you apply. You can go right to floridadisaster.biz, and this biz is B-I-Z. We have a link there, Small Business Emergency Bridge Loan Program, and you can click right on there. It'll take you through. I've got some 20 slides here, and I put that up for a reason because I know a lot of folks take it and post it, so there's really no reason for me to go through it line by line, but I will just kind of quickly go through it. So once you get to this site and you click on that, it gets you to this page, which gives you more information on here. There's more information if you scroll down. This is just a quick screenshot of it, but if you scroll down, you'll see a lot more information there where it talks about some of the required documents that you need. It gives you a little bit more in depth on the program. And then to apply, you just click here to apply here. That'll take you again to, this is a Salesforce-based application. So this is a fully online application. In the past, we've taken applications in a multitude of ways. I thought that was silly to take them by email, by fax, by going into a center. I just thought it was too many things go wrong that way and it slows things down. We're trying to expedite this. My goal is to get money in the hands of applicants within 24 hours of completing an application. So that's a key feature too. We need a complete application. And I'll go back to mentioning the SBDC consultants. They have disaster specialists that know how to complete the application and know the documentation that's needed for your business. And that's why I encourage you to work with them. But if you click here, that blue, right where that arrow is, if you hover over that, the blue arrow, the blue font there will light up and it'll take you to this page, which is the login page. I apologize. There's a lot of logins here, a lot of screens to get to just this one login page, but I guess that's government for you. But you get to this page here and you put a username in, password, and then hit sign up. Once you do that, you're going to be mailed an email verification code. What we've noticed in this since early March is a lot of the ISPs have increased their spam blocking. So a lot of passwords and a lot of verification codes are going to your spam folder. Be sure to check it. If you're still missing a lot of emails, you may want to go into your settings on your ISP and change that. So once you log in, you then can create an account. And then just click on your application to start an application. If you see there too, it says in green, new loan application or my loan application. Once you set up your account and your application, you can always go back to it. And that's when you would click on the my loan application to go back to it. I encourage everybody to sit down at one time and get it done at one setting. Can answer a few eligibility questions. Who's eligible? You see there the 2 to 100 employees. In Florida, all counties are available. Have to be a for-profit, privately held business. Just a couple of things you're certifying. And then you just go through the application. It's really simple here. You know, purpose of the loan. You go through. So there's, if you see on there, it says application section 1. There's 7 sections, and I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit here. 7 sections. You'll see that once you complete section 1. Section 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be checked off. We're not requiring it because this is a platform that we use for another one of our loan programs, and we stood this up pretty quick, and we kind of took out what was needed to put this into an emergency bridge loan application. So we encourage you to go into only section 4. I shouldn't say that. We encourage you to go into section 4, not only section 4, but section 4 that's checked off. That's where the dollar amount is requested for the loan. We couldn't move it. If we moved it, it would cause an IT nightmare to have to fix the downstream effects on it. So we just left it there. We're going to fix this. We're going to make this a much better application. I think it's really good now, but it takes a little bit of tinkering to get through it. So finish all the sections, go through it. You can go back and forth. You can jump back and forth. And once you've completed them, it'll have a check mark in the box there. And it'll show that it's done. I'm just going to go ahead here. This is all about section 1. As you can see there, 4, 5, and 6 are checked off once you complete section 1. Section 7 is the most important part. This is all business information. Let me just stop here real quick in section 3. It talks about the who's helping you with this, and you can see there the highlighted red buttons there, the highlighted red asterisk there that are required. However, if you click off the box there, it says I am completing this application independently. It will not require you to put that information in there. Here's section 4 that I mentioned. You want to put working capital right up on the top there, source of funding, just put the dollar amount. I know it's not incredibly simple to say, okay, well, this is where I put my money that I'm not looking for, but because it is an application from another program, just putting that working capital in there, that would be fine enough right there. Section 7 is where the important information, the documentation, supporting documentation is required. Tax returns, W-2s, all your basic information that would be required. We do pull credit, so just make sure that your credit is not frozen. Some of the documents that you might need: valid ID, credit check authorization, which is a PDF in there that you can fill out. I'm sorry, it's a Word document that you can fill out, sign it for us to pull credit. Once all 7 are done, you can just hit submit application. We've got our number down there. We've got our email down there as well. You can email us. Those are our numbers. I encourage you to call your local SBDC center. I know there's a lot of different offices in Orlando and in the Orlando area, but I would encourage you to call them, to work with them. They know how to go through this. They know how to fill out the application. I would encourage you to call them. I think there's 3 or 4 different locations in the Orlando area. I'll leave it at that, Andrew. I'm sure we got a lot of questions. I wasn't looking at the chat, but I'm sure there's a lot.
Yeah, there's some questions that have popped up here. One of them here is, so if there are options for companies with more than 100 employees, I thought this was this for less than was for 100 and less, or was it 500 and less?
No, it was 100 and less. The federal program is 500 or less.
Okay, and so then they would seek the federal loan if they're larger than 100 employees. And then provided there are no outstanding loans, the application is complete, will you receive the money within 24 hours? Is there a review process? What's the turnaround time for review and documents and approval?
Turnaround time, since we've received such a large number of applications, the turnaround time right now is about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I would say.
Okay, so somebody said, yeah, they filled out an application 326, received any communication. They have not received any communication. There's no way to check the status besides email. Is there a way that they can follow up on the status of a loan?
Once you submit your application online, so we want to encourage everybody to submit an application online. We still allow for you to mail them in, but that's just going to slow it down. Once you have completed your application online, you can go back into that application and see the status of your account. And up on the top, it'll tell you the status. And right now, most of them probably say submitted. We're working through the thousands of applications that we have.
Okay. All right. It said, this is from Raquel. She just said the application was completed online and it only shows as submitted. Is that the only status that you have at this point?
No, it's not, but we have a couple of steps that we need to get through before it gets to another level. So we're not going to have it, every time somebody touches it to go to another status. Submitted has a wide variety of work that needs to happen in it. So that doesn't mean it's not being worked on. Please be patient. We're working through them. Everybody that I think is on this call should go and apply for the federal loans as well. I encourage you, and I can talk about that real briefly if you'd like. I encourage you to go to the federal sites, SBA.gov. And then there's another one, and I'll just mention it, and maybe a couple want to jot it down. It's home.treasury.gov /CARES.
Home.treasury.gov. Okay.
I'll say it again. It's home.treasury.gov/CARES. That is where you'll find quite a bit of information. You'll also find the application for the payroll protection loan. The other loan program is the EIDL application, which you can find that on SBA.gov. I encourage you to fill out both of them. Now, the SBA.gov you can do online, and you can submit that to SBA. Again, I always go back to SBDC consultants. They know how to apply for those. Please go and talk to them about getting all those, getting those documents into that EIDL application. The other Treasury application that you will find, that you need to complete and take it to your local lender. So they're going to fund the loans, the banks, your local lender. If they're a federally guaranteed, federally insured bank, they are participating in this program. They're starting to take applications on tomorrow.
All right. And then I had a couple more questions that popped up. What is the average loan size? If you can ask that, what's about the average loan that's being issued to businesses?
So for the state dollars, the emergency bridge loan, most people will take the 50,000. On occasion, we'll see some smaller, but during Irma, the average loan size was about 38,000. During Michael, it was higher because we allowed for row crops. We had a lot of farmers that were impacted, and we allowed that loan to be much higher. So we made an exception for that. That loan size, average size, was over $54,000, I think.
And then I've got another question. What will the income tax impact or impacts be on receiving this money?
Good question. So we do not issue tax statements at the end of the year.
Okay, so they need to make sure that they file for that and make sure that
Right.
that is put in with their accountant on that.
Absolutely.
Then,
work with your accountant.
Got another one. How will I know if my bank is participating in the payroll protection program, and does this apply to credit unions? Can you answer that?
Good question. So credit unions are participating. I know that the last press release that I saw is that all federally insured lenders are participating, which includes credit unions and also what they call non-bank lenders. So your CDCs, your CDFIs, they are also participating. Now they can choose not to participate, but they are allowed to participate. So I think your best bet is to call your lender. One disappointing thing that I've heard is some of the larger lenders are saying at this time we're only going to serve our current depositors and our current shareholders or in the credit union, the shareholders. That to me is a little unfortunate because you're going to have a lot of people that don't have a lender that they do bank with, so they're going to have to find somebody. I know that Treasury is trying to sign up more banks and more lenders to participate. I think almost everybody is going to participate in this. Gotcha. On the lender side.
And then another question has come in. Is there a plan to expand the bridge loan past the 50 million mark, given the demand of the needs of our businesses and applications received?
That's a good question. I was with Director Lawson when that question came up the last time, and I can't answer that question at this time. I just don't know. I know $50 million is a lot of money, but I see the demand for this. We're getting through the applications, we're getting through completed applications, and we've always said, get your applications in as quick as you can. We'll process them as they come in.
And where does are these state dollars? Once again, I think you may have answered this one in the very beginning, but are they state dollars that come out of the state budget, or is this money that the federal government gives the state for this? Where does that come from? So that we know where the money gets paid back and all of that.
Good question. So these are absolutely state dollars. These are not reimbursed by federal dollars. These dollars come right out of general revenue, and when they come back, they go right back into general revenue. So we do not ask for federal assistance on any of this.
Okay. And I think you answered these two. We had them. You can apply for both the Federal CARES Act loans that are out there or grants, and you can apply for the state. So you've got basically state and federal dollars that you can apply for. I think you did mention that, correct?
Andrew, I'll also add to that too. This P3 loan is new. This is something that FBA set up. There was some questions that people were concerned, well, can I apply for the P3 loan and also the EIDL loan? And the answer is yes. And I encourage businesses to do that. The only thing you can't do is you can't apply for those two programs for the same purpose. So one should be for working capital, one should be for payroll. Just so long as you're not using it for the same purpose, they will allow you to apply for both of those loans. And I encourage businesses to apply for both of those.
Okay. And we did answer the question on other loans. Oh, another one came through. Are there loans that have already been paid out? And what is the average size, if you know? I guess in regards to this program here with the bridge.
Yeah, they've already, we've issued loans. We've issued about $6 million, I think, in loans. And again, the average size, I haven't looked at the average size yet. I don't think I have a big enough pool to look at that, but I would imagine it's going to, most of them are for the max, which is the 50,000.
Okay. Thanks for the info. This is from Jesse. My understanding was some of the loans were forgivable, that in certain circumstances. There are differences in applications for nonprofits. I'm not sure which loan they're talking about.
So our loan absolutely is not forgivable. I just want to ensure that we don't make this loan to forgive the loan. We don't want people taking it out thinking it is a grant and that it is forgivable. This is not a forgivable loan. I think what the question was referring to is the federal loans. So there is a piece of the federal program, the P3 loan, that is forgivable, that if it were used for payroll. So that portion of it would be forgivable. So if you apply for it, you can apply for 2.5 times your average monthly payroll, and then used for that, it would be forgiven. So there is a forgivable piece to that loan.
So in that, and that would be the CARE loan or the CARE Act piece on that. Is the state have anything that's available for nonprofits when it comes to any loans, or is it all small business and individuals?
Good question, and I heard that and I should have answered that, but no, our bridge loan is not available for nonprofits. The reason being is these are personal loans and nonprofits are not set up that way. The federal dollars, though, are set up for nonprofits. They can allow for nonprofits. Unfortunately, they're not allowing for chambers and for that structure. So 501c3s are allowed in the federal program. I think most chambers and most other organizations like yours are set up as C6s, if I'm not mistaken, which are not allowed, unfortunately not.
So that has been, because I've seen 2 different reports on that, it just says all 501Cs,
right?
But it doesn't state specifically in that. So I think that's some clarity, because I think nonprofits can start applying, or the application for nonprofits will start on April 3rd is when that opens for nonprofits. But
it's also available for sole practitioners too, Andrew. I don't know if that was a concern for some people. Sole practitioners, physicians, that is available through the CARES, the PPP loan. That's available.
Okay, that's a good thing.
They also make clarity too. 19s, C19s, which are VA organizations, they are allowed to apply.
Okay. And Julie said the CARES Act downloaded at the nationalec.org. And then Justin, you said for companies that are run by LLC members with no employees, but there are 2 or more members taking a draw, would they qualify? And then will LLC members count as employees?
So yes, they will. The answer is yes, that they will count as employees, but not in our program unless they are 2 or more.
Okay. Justin, did that answer your question there? And then got another one. If a small business is unable to qualify or requires more than what is being offered, what other resources are available to them?
Say that one more time. If they haven't applied?
So if a small business is unable to qualify or requires more than what's being offered, what other resources are available for businesses?
Really, it's the federal loan program. This EIDL loan program and the PPP loan program, which has never been done before, is absolutely the best course of action for most large businesses or businesses that might not qualify for our program. Again, our program is for small businesses. Most of our loans are to, what we call the mom and pop type businesses, the 3, 4, 5, 10 employees. This program from the federal side is just tremendous. I was elated when I saw it because it came quickly. It seems like they're dropping all barriers to get this money out the door. They're allowing every federally insured bank to offer these loans, and I think that is absolutely the route that I would take. And I would probably venture to say that if you went to your bank or went to your lender and said, hey, I want to apply for one of your loans, they're going to direct you to this federal program.
And if you have a relationship with a bank or a financial institution, it's probably a great time to make sure that you've got those connections with those people, so that you can make those, and if not, start those relationships, because they're the ones that can help you through the process on this.
And I would do it quickly. I would, sorry to interrupt, Andrew, but I would do it quickly. There's a set dollar amount. I thought I saw 350 billion that's available nationwide. And the application period, I believe, was in late June or early July is when it ends. But again, they're like our program that says the funding is available until expended. So get in there quick. I think you're going to see lines around banks on Friday.
I could agree. Another question popped up. What kind of assistance or what help is there for 1099 employees if they don't qualify for any of these? And if not, where do they go for any assistance? Because we do have a number of members that are 1099s for employees, for companies, and are looking for assistance, or their own kind of like a taxi driver type person or an Uber driver. Are there any assistance for these folks?
So again, the federal program, the CARES program, does allow for that. I also know that there's a lot of non-bank lenders that have a little niche in dealing with 1099s and sole proprietors. So I would encourage you to find some of the smaller community banks, some of the smaller lenders, some of the smaller CDCs that are in the Orlando area. And I know that they've got a niche in some of these unusual circumstances. I shouldn't say unusual, but these non-common borrowers to some of these big programs. 1099s are a little different, a little bit harder to quantify as a small business. So a lot of these small business lenders don't look at them. We actually opened up our program for 1099 employees, but you had to have at least two. So you can be a sole practitioner. If you had 1099 employees, we're going to count that as 3 employees. So you and the 2 employee 1099. So we opened it up a little bit, and I know some of the non-bank lenders are allowing for that. Let me just say, in Orlando, we've got some great partners in Orlando that know all about this. One of them is Prospera. I'm sure many of you know Prospera, former HBIF. They do a tremendous job. We work with them. They are a partner of ours. They're a very important partner of ours in the Orlando area. I'll also mention Dr. Jerry Ross, too, at the NEC. They do a great job. They've offered assistance to come in and work with clients and work with whomever we need to help with. So they've been, I talked to them just yesterday, that they are willing to assist in any way they can. They've got the space, and they've got the that's right, I saw Julie just right there, National Entrepreneur Center. So they do a tremendous job. I talked to them yesterday, and I keep asking them, what do you have? And their answer back to me is, whatever you need. We'll do whatever you ask us to do, and we'll do our best to try and help with that. So it's a great partnership. We've got people from other agencies helping out. I know I've been hearing people saying they can't get through on the phones, or they can't get any status update. We've got 17 people from another agency just answering phones and returning phone calls. So we've got a lot of people stepping up, and I know it makes Director Lawson proud to know that other agencies are stepping up.
I've got a question. He said, remind us what the CDC, I don't think he's meaning the Center for Disease Control, but you had mentioned something earlier in that, just
Community Development Corporation, CDFIs and Community Development Corporation. So CDC and CDFIs, they're treasury labeling of what we call non-bank. I used to call non-bank banks, but they're non-bank lenders. So if you're a non-bank lender, you don't take deposits versus a bank that takes deposits.
Okay. And Prospera, with that, are all businesses eligible to be able to apply or to get assistance from Prospera, even if you're not Hispanic?
Absolutely. I talked to their CEO, Augusto, and they primarily work with Hispanics, and we have a contract, and they have been a vendor of ours. So it is primarily Hispanic, but again, he said, whatever you need us to do. We're in the large cities. They're in Orlando. I think they have some people down in Miami and Tampa, so they've stepped up as well.
All right. Any other questions coming through? I just want to see what we've got. I think we've answered quite a bit. Is there any other information that we have or need to be able to, as a resource, as a chamber? We've put your sites up there on we do have it's a COVID-19 page on our website. If you click the main banner ad when you log on, it takes you right there with a lot of these resources. So from that. And then Julie said the NEC is physically closed to the public, but all of our resource partners are working remotely. So call, leave a message, and they'll call you back. So Julie over at the NEC, thank you. I know I've talked with also Jerry Ross over at the NEC also is working with us on some things. We'll have some more conferences like this coming up in the very near future. So so anything that we're, all of us, if we don't know, I know a lot of people, we may not have offices open, but a lot of people are working behind the scenes to help members and help businesses. A phone call away. We are taking calls, we're taking emails, and if we don't have the information or can't get to it, we're forwarding you to people that do. So
that's great.
And
I would encourage, again, I'm sorry, Andrew. No, I would encourage everybody to look for DEO's site as well, floridajobs.org. And I know we're making some changes and we're adding all kinds of content. So keep looking there and keep looking for links, and we're going to keep updating as fast as we possibly can. Even on the federal side, I know every time I log into some of these sites, they seem to have moved things around or updated. So keep logging in. If you can't find it, keep logging in, keep looking, keep refreshing.
Well, we've got this, and I'll just take you here for those that want to see. I think you can see my screen. Let's see if that'll let me show you my screen. I don't know if you see this real quick. I'm hoping to pause sharing. Hold on. That's here. But if you go to our COVIS site, if this is showing here, this is where you can get the information. There's the DOE or DEO site. Are we seeing my screen? I didn't mean to steal it from you there.
No, that's great. No, I see it.
Okay, I'm new to all of this new technology, but there is a lot of information on our site. This is the COVID resource and information page. It is under resources all the way over on our side here. So all of my little pieces here, but if you look over here, it's right at this part under resources, and it's on the main banner page when you click on that. But there's a ton of resources and links that take you to places here for reemployment assistance in a small business, how to complete the application. That is the presentation we saw today. It's the same slideshow. Small bridge. This is the loan here, and then long-term recovery resources from the DOE. So with that, and then let me see if I can get out of here real quick and stop sharing my screen. And I don't know if I paused anybody else here. So I may have lost anybody. I hope not. So let's just see here. Oop. Did I lose everybody in the middle of this? I hope so.
Oh, we're still here.
They're still here. All right. So any other questions coming up? Let's see. I've got another one. No, we're still on. Okay. Great presentation. If there's nothing else that anybody has, I just want to I want to thank you, Michael, for being here for this. This was great. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to see Ken Lawson this morning. Where will the information be posted? Where will the reply be posted? Hold on, wait a minute. I'm getting a bunch of questions and chats coming through. More webinars can be found nationwide at NEC. Yes, they're doing things. We have a bunch that are slated. If you take a look at our calendar also, we will record this and post this up so you can replay from where we were from when we started the recording. I want to thank again UCF for sponsoring this event today. They're a great partner of the Chamber. We appreciate them and appreciate all our members. And we're here for you. We're working from home. We're working hard. So if you have questions, feel free to email us, call us, and we'll point you in the right direction if we don't know ourselves. But stay tuned for a lot more that's coming up. We've got some neat things planned coming in the very near future. You'll see some things. We've got stuff already planned for the rest of this week and into next week and the week after. So we'll post all of this. Keep your eyes open, watch the source. And Michael, if there's no more questions, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Michael. Stay healthy, and we'll hopefully, if we got any other questions, we'll direct them to you and get in touch with you. So thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you. My pleasure.